And I'm going to let Tommy Robinson come and take center stage here until he has to go. So if he can stay with us for 10 minutes or an hour, the more the better. So I'm going to stand up and Tommy's going to squish in.
Yes, all right, excuse me. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn.
Well, Tommy, it's great to see you. We're all going to squish together like friends that we are. It's nice to see you. You've done a lot of interviews with Jessica over the last few weeks, but I haven't had a chance to really see you today. How you feeling, mate?
I'm feeling good. I had a great month. I'm feeling. I think at the end of the campaign, I was being over enthusiastic as well, saying we're winning. To try and counter all of everything we've had thrown against us. So, do I think I'm going to win?
I don't know. It's hard to guess.
Yeah, I think that reality. I think that when you go through, but we'll talk about it. When you go through what we're up against, what we're combating, what I found on the campaign trail, it's been a great experience. I loved it.
Can you just move up a few inches closer here to the mic here?
I'm just getting in my ear. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been I had an amazing month. More than anything, meeting supporters, going to the estates, meeting the people. I've never felt so loved in my life. It's an emotional thing. Even when I go away and I sit back and watch, I just think, wow, I can see the passion in people. Do I think that will turn into electoral success with what we face? Like, for example, this has not been a fair campaign. It's not a fair electoral process. It's impossible to have a fair one now. It's not fair in the sense that social media has to be taken into account. It has to be. I had the largest social media. I had it all removed.
You had 1 million Facebook followers, and then they turned that off.
The most engaged, and the maddest thing is, it was all turned off at the request of government, at the request of the establishment. And then what we saw, so they removed my social media, and then every single town and city we went into, the local MP would go to the local media, the controlled media. He would make a statement that slanders me, lies about me, and labels me as a racist and an extremist, as a Nazi, as whatever they want. I have no counter way of arguing with that. I had people in the street that I'd hand a leaflet to, and they'd say, Tommy Robinson, aren't you a Nazi? Aren't you a fascist? And I say, where do you get that? They said, it's just what I've been told by the media. Now, so when you see a campaign, and that's one thing, is their ability to lie about you. The next thing is, say, for example, Hope Not Hate. Hope Not Hate had a paid operation of advertisement using social media. It reached 2.4 million people in the Northwest alone. How do I combat that? So it's like I'm going into a fight with my hands tied behind the back, and I'm not even allowed to punch back. I can't even tell people the truth. They cut and edit videos together with little snippets and put them all together into a montage, and then they sell that to the Northwest, and they literally sell it because they pay a lot of money to get it there. And I have no way of reaching those people because I'm not even allowed to talk to them. I'm not allowed social media, so I can't do my own advertisement. Yeah. So then I go to back to the old ways of leaflets. So I then think, right, I'll leaflet to get my message to the people. We've then got evidence, clear evidence, that this is when I realised this is near on impossible to win, because people are being lied to, told I'm a Nazi in every single newspaper. The media are part of this campaign. You have far left hate groups who I've already proved to the world that they lie. I've proved to the world that they work with the establishment to destroy my name. I've proved it with Panodrama. They then work and operate, contacting 2.4 million people. They leaflet every house in the Northwest. When I go to leaflet through the Royal Mail, which is protected and part of the electoral process, I've got clear evidence now that they refused to take my leaflets. Many of them, and not just that they refused it, it was celebrated by the union.
The Postal Workers Union, is that right, Tommy?
The Postal Workers Union actually celebrated the fact that I've had so many people contact me, so many people who haven't received a leaflet, they should have done. So certain witnesses contacted me saying they saw the postman dump boxes of them. Then we've had the actual postman saying 6 of us in our one little part, we refused to put them out. And then that was celebrated by the union. So when we can't fight the lies or the smears, which we're being lied and smeared about across the whole country, when we can't fight that electoral campaign, the reason every candidate has to spend the same amount of money, yeah? All the rules are equal in an electoral campaign. So that's fair.
Well, that's the reason there's spending limits, is so that everyone's on a level playing field. But if there's a spending limit, but you can't spend it on social media,
and everyone else has social media, and literally the union paid for 50 or maybe even 100 billboards specifically lying and slandering about me. the union. So Hope Not Hate reached 2.4 million people. They leafleted 400,000 addresses. They done all of these campaigns against me. I couldn't even fight back. So when I think about the chances, the entire population, there's no chance really.
Well, it's interesting, and Justin, back in Canada, can you get the Manchester montage? Jessica, I remember when you went to, is that your glass of water?
Yeah, that's mine. My breathing's been terrible, man. I think I was so run down at the end of this campaign. I went home and crashed.
Jessica, one of your first days here on the campaign, you went to Manchester, the city proper, and you talked to students, and you asked them, what do you think about Tommy? And every one of them had the message track that was drilled into their head. I hate him, he's a Nazi, he's a fascist. And every single one of them, you said, why? And not a single one of them had an answer. We put that video up, and some of Tommy's fans said, what are you doing? Why are you showing that? Well, because when you have like 2.4 million brochures, all the establishment slandering you, but you're denied, it's like you were given a laryngectomy. And I want to just play a clip of that because no one knows why. They just know that's the message they're supposed to repeat. Do you have the clip back there? Okay, just take a look. Just play 30 seconds of it.
Voting.
Probably for Labour Party, if anything.
And why is that?
No idea, my friend tells me to.
And can you name your current MEP right now?
No, not at all.
I'm Jessica Shventhanowski with Rebel.media out in Manchester today, trying to talk to people out here. First of all, trying to see if they actually are aware that there is an election happening right now and seeing what they may have heard of the candidate Tommy Robinson for this region. Let's go take a look. Have you heard anything about Tommy Robinson running for MEP in the region?
Yeah, he's a cunt.
And why is that?
You know why, but she won't be asking.
That's why I'm asking. Can you give me, why do you think that?
He's racist, he's Islamophobic, and...
It goes on for some while like that. What was so incredible, and Jessica, you kept putting it to them, you have a single example. Like, surely you can come up with one example. If someone said to me, Ezra, why is Jeremy Corbyn anti-Semitic? I could give you examples, and I'm not even a Brit. You know, he posed with the Hezbollah flag. I know the facts, but not a single person you asked knew a fact. I think it's because they've just had this steady drip, drip, drip of disinformation about Tommy. Is that your sense of things?
Oh, for sure. It's like they're just implanted with these phrases and these things to say. And yeah, it does sound bad when you call somebody a racist, so you'll repeat it because it's such a harsh word that if somebody calls you that, then you want to believe it.
Where there's smoke, there's got to be fire.
Exactly.
Tommy, I want to ask you a question about this because it wasn't just Facebook and Twitter that knocked you out. In the middle of your campaign, Stripe, and most people don't know what Stripe is, but it's a credit card processor that runs half the internet. Stripe and PayPal knocked you offline, but Stripe, in the middle of the campaign, shut down your campaign fundraising ability. Now, you fired off a lawyer's letter and they backed down temporarily, but that is worse interference by a foreign company, Stripe, it's based in America, in an election campaign here in the UK than anything that the Russians have ever been accused of.
Yeah, it's not just that. Social media haven't just limited me. All the even political or any pages that were supportive of me with high profiles were also removed, have also been limited. Even our social media, even when we set up YouTube accounts that would then be for the election campaign, they've censored those videos. So it's been a complete uphill battle, but it's also exposed and shown just the power that they have and the control that they have, the establishment has. With regards to Stripe, they stopped our ability. They weren't happy with people not hearing our message. Our ability to fund our campaign, they just removed mid-flow, just took it down. And like everything else, like PayPal, like all of these things, when they removed it, no reason given, just you breached our terms and conditions. They never tell you which terms and conditions. Even Snapchat, something I've done nothing on, just removed. So all these companies are working together. They're all talking together. And it should scare the public, the power that they have, especially in an electoral process. You can't have candidates running against each other where certain candidates or parties are allowed to use the benefit of social media to reach and advertise, which is the biggest form of advertisement now. It's the biggest form of reaching the public. You can actually specifically target your audience for age, for political beliefs, for where they live. You can't have that. And then other parties or other groups due to the government interference, I'm not allowed to even combat it.
You know what? I think back to Daniel Pipes, a scholar in America who uses the phrase the 5P professionals. He says the press, the politicians, the police, the prosecutors, and the professors. These are the establishment. These are the big shots. And I think of how every single one of these aspects came for you. The police, they blocked you on the street. The prosecutors, they took you to the Old Bailey in the middle of the campaign. The press lied about you. The politicians denounced you. The professors, I saw law professors trying to justify physical assaults called milkshaking. All the people that we rely on to defend on democracy, all 5 out of the 5P professional groups, press, politicians, police, prosecutors, and professors, they've all gone mad, Tommy.
The biggest thing is the justification for violence as well. You see so many people, I wish it was acid, I wish it was bricks. No one's arrested. People watched, you all watched, yeah, as I was physically assaulted.
Well, we've got that clip ready. I want to show 3 clips of that because
Yep.
I knew we'd talk about this thing.
My wife just come in. She's a 10.
Okay,
She's a 10.
we got you for 10 minutes?
No, I said she's
Oh,
a
she's
10.
a 10. Ain't that the truth, Tom? I don't know how you get to be so lucky, mate. I want to show you a few clips. I want to show you, the first one is the assault itself. All right, so you were talking, and I've seen you do this before. I've seen you talk to try and convince people who, like, you don't just ignore people who are opposed. You try and convince them. Let's take a look at, you're talking to this guy passionately, and he just loses his patience, and he throws a milkshake in your face. Let's take a look at that.
He was overly aggressive, jumping around like he was going to do something. He didn't do shit. The only person you pushed was a woman. No, you was, mate. We'll show you the footage later. So you come here very aggressively, you got over.
Yeah, he just finished saying he wasn't aggressive, and he threw that in your face. But I want to show you 2 more things. He got into a taxi with a Muslim taxi driver, and he was so proud of himself, and he thanked Allah. Let's take a quick look at that clip.
Yes, bro.
Yes, G.
How are you, man?
Respect. BB1. All the way.
Did you even get nicked?
Nah, bro.
Yeah, man. Everything's blessed. Alhamdulillah, man.
Alhamdulillah. Lana shukar.
I'm not sure if we have the Guardian story, but the Guardian actually wrote that he was afraid for himself. You were bullying him, and that the milkshake, and I quote here, slipped out of his hand. The police escorted him to the train station. They didn't arrest him. They marched with him to protect him.
I think they give him a lift. I think they drove him, dropped him off at the train stations. Well done, son, off you go. That's criminal damage and it's assault. But he's Muslim and I'm Tom Robinson, so that's nothing. It's celebrated. It was celebrated by Conservative Party MPs. It was celebrated by all of the media. It's completely been encouraged. On that same day, as well as him throwing milkshake, this started the milkshake trend. In fact, it was started 2 days before in Bury, where again, someone threw a milkshake and they weren't arrested. And on that same day, I was physically assaulted by a lady and I was physically assaulted by a male. Neither of them have been arrested. Now, the one thing that's really exposing in these things is for everyone who's watching it to see the media's response, to see that anyone who watched that video, they painted him like some innocent victim. When you see the footage of what he was doing, he was trying to start physical contact with me. He was goading, jumping around. I wasn't at all. Even my supporters were trying to be calm. But the way it's portrayed to the whole public was that we were the aggressors. He was a scared little boy. He was scared and intimidated, which is completely contrary to the evidence that everyone can watch online. And the whole way through this campaign, that's what's happened. The media have told one story. People can watch the video. The difference is, it's the amount of people that can now watch the video. Usually, off my social media, say, for example, what happened in Oldham, 6 million people would have watched that video. 6 million people would have seen that they've been lied to by the media. Because they've limited our social media, 150,000 people watched it. And that's it.
Isn't that true? Now, Jessica, I don't think you were there when that milkshake attack happened, but you were there in Oldham when the riots happened. Can you tell me, I mean, we've heard from Tommy, can you tell our viewers, what was it like for you? You're from Canada, the land of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Mounties, everyone loves a Mountie. How did you feel the policing in Oldham during that riot was? Did they do their best? Were they caught off guards? Or were they sort of willing to let it go to punish Tommy and to hurt his reputation?
It definitely, there's a motive there. it's sad to see them because, like you said before, I have tremendous respect for first responders and servicemen, but they were standing by, they were letting things happen, there were no arrests made. They seemed almost sympathetic to the Muslim protesters.
It's very strange. Jessica, I'd like you to check on your phone, either social media or contact Tommy's team in the counting booth. And Tommy, you do the same. I'm going to take a minute and read some super chats just as a way of thanking our supporters. So we're going to be very loose here. And Tommy, when you have to go, don't be shy about it.
I'm just working out what to do now with that. Whether to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you have to go on a moment's notice. We're glad to have you here.
Can you do a poll on there? Can you do that?
I don't know if we can do a poll, but we can ask people to give their feedback.
If I go to the count, I'm going to be surrounded by a room full of people I don't want to be surrounded by, who I have nothing in common with. Whereas here, I've got 10,000 people watching, who are my people, my supporters. So I'd rather be spending my evening talking to my own people.
Well, you're welcome.
At the same time, I just like getting in the middle of it a little bit.
Well, if you want to go, feel free. And as we said before we went live, we might deputize Jessica to go with a camera. And if something exciting breaks, we can take your footage live from Periscope. So you guys feel free to work the phones. I'm going to take a minute just to say thanks to the folks who've been sending super chats. So Tommy, why don't you get a read on what's going on? Yeah, take your time. And I'll just scoot over. All right. Well, Tommy's checking in with his family who is here and making a decision on things. Are you?
That's my little word. I just want to say one thing.
Okay. I think we got.
Give a shout out.
He's just saying, Daddy, why don't you give me a shout out? Spencer, you better be being good for your nana. All right. I love you, Macy. You all right, babe? I hope those boys are gone. And Poppy, I love you as well. Miss you. Mum, love you. Dad, love you. Peace. Be good, kids, all right?
There you go. I tell you, Tommy's got a wonderful family, and I think that's a side of him that I wish other people could see. Of course, for their own safety, they cannot be in public because, as you know, Tommy himself has been the target of many threats, physical threats, and God forbid that should extend beyond him himself. All right, I want to read some of the super chats. And Jessica, you stay in touch with folks who are at the counting center, because if we have news from there, not only would we like you to tell it to us here, but it may be appropriate for you to head on down there. I have here on my phone some more super chats, so let me read some of them. El Chapacabra, who I know from Canada, chips in 21 Canadian dollars, which is about £3 sterling. Thanks for the great coverage, Jessica and the Rebel team. Well, I tell you, we're so proud to have Jessica, and I think she, in 2 weeks, you had more real journalistic experience than I think in like 6 months in a normal campaign beat.
Well, I mean, I was in journalism school for 2 years, and it was definitely useful, but these 2 weeks were probably the best experience I could have had as a journalist.
Now, Tommy's welcome to come on back, but until then, let's line ourselves up here. We sort of squished together, the three of us. Let me read some more super chats, and then we have some other videos that we can show from the campaign trail. Let me just go through some of these friendly folks. Anti-Duck chips in £5. Please give Jessica a promotion and some Ezra goggles. Thank you for your coverage, Jessica. I don't know what Ezra goggles are, but
I'm not sure, but I want them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to jump the gun, but of course we are very interested in Jessica continuing on with us once her student placement is over, and hopefully once things calm down and we're back in Canada and can take a deep breath, obviously we'd love to have you. Observer Dude, £10. I was in Oldham at Tommy's rally. Some of the leftists who were calling us Nazis once protested outside a Jewish shop in Manchester and got banned from it by the city council for harassment. I think that's incredible. I think, Ed, one of our lights went out here, if you could help us out with that. Well, that's the irony. One of Tommy's videos, and Justin back in Canada, can you get, my favorite Tommy video, the one where there was an engagement that happened, there was just a great vid. Tommy points out that and I've seen this with my own eyes, there's usually a Star of David flag in a Tommy demo. There usually is, and I've been half a dozen Tommy demos. Whereas the anti-Tommy activists, if anything, I mean, first of all, they don't even like the Union Jack, but maybe they've got the Hezbollah flag like Jeremy Corbyn. Let me just read a couple more of this, and Jessica, poke around and let me know if there's any info you can get either from social media or from our friends on the inside there. Lee McMichael chips in £5 and says, keep up good Tommy and Rebel. 50 Shades MCFC. I bet Tommy to get elected at 8-1 a few weeks ago. Back here is hoping. Well, that would be a heck of a payday, so I hope that comes true. I should tell you that Paddy Power had Tommy at 6-5 odds, which means a 45% chance of winning. And Ladbrokes, if I'm saying that right, had him at 7-4 odds, which I think is 36%. So he was in the running. Look, you just heard the uphill battle he had. No social media. The Royal Mail refusing to mail things. The cops not only blocking Tommy's campaign, but escorting rioters towards him. I don't even know if it's possible to win when you've been unpersoned like that, but wouldn't that be something? I hope you get paid your 8-1. Adger Wise, $5. Love to Tommy, and thanks Rebel for fairly covering his campaign. Well, that's the thing. Is just simply pointing a camera and asking who, what, where, why, when. That kind of journalism doesn't even happen here in the UK, and I say that with a heavy heart. Sarah Naylor, £9.99. Please give Tommy a big hug from us. And Little Rosa. All right, well, we'll do. CTIV Patriot UK, £2. Based Welshman, sheep shagging bastard, you know what you are. You know what? You paid £2, so I'll read it. You can hear Tommy laughing in the background. Tommy, do you have time to stick around a bit? Okay, sure. Okay, let me scoot over one more time because Tommy's going to go. You got to have it. All right, mate. So have you checked on things?
I haven't checked on anything. I did. My plan is a reality. So up until the basis at the end of the election, the reality is I think it's impossible with everything we've had stacked against us. I would like, as I said, my mind was, should I stay speaking to my supporters? Should I stay speaking together, or shall I go down there? Regardless, I think I'm going to go down there. I'm going to go down there now. I'd like to say to every single person who supported me during this campaign, I've had an amazing experience. It's been wonderful. We've had a great laugh as well, haven't we? That's good. It was a good time. And and I've felt so loved. So more than anything, I think we have a massive fight. What we find out tonight is just how much of an influence the establishment, the media, and the limiting of social media, the ability for you to get your message out, the ability for me to talk to the public and to counter the lies and smears. That's my toughest job. And to politicise the working class, which is what I wanted to do. No matter what, we've had a success. No matter what, there's been a success. Do I think I'll be elected as an MEP? I don't. I didn't. Even at the end of the campaign, I didn't feel it. I hope it. But yeah, I've had, it's been a great experience. And more than anything, I've delayed so much for this campaign. The Rape of Britain, which is an upcoming documentary I want to do, highlighting what's happening to children in the towns and cities, exposing all of them. I want to crack on with that. I'm ready to crack on with that. But I've got to get my court case out of the way, the 4th of July. It's constantly battling and constantly trying to swim when they're throwing everything at you. 4th of July, outside the Old Bailey.
Stick around for one more minute. I want to ask you one question, and I want to make one plan. Jessica, I might suggest that you go with Tommy to that place, and if there's breaking news, let us know and put it on your Periscope, and we'll pipe that feed in here. If you want to stick around and stay on standby, but where Tommy goes, news often follows. So if you want to go and follow him, that may be an appropriate thing to do, especially to be inside, because you're one of the accredited people to go in that counting room. I'm not pushing you away. You're much better received from our 10,000 viewers than I am. But if there's breaking news, it might behoove us to be on the ground. Tommy, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Oh, first of all, will you come back afterwards if you can?
I'll come back.
Okay, come back afterwards. So viewers, Tommy's going to the counting place. It's actually the verification. The counting has been done in the 39 local towns and cities.
In the 3 days that stuff's they've just been sat there.
Yeah, I find that really iffy. I've never heard of that before. I've heard of it taking time to count. But counting ballots and letting them sit under lock and key, who's lock, who's key?
Who's the big?
But I want to ask you a question, Tommy, because in the United States, this deplatforming is a political issue. Like here in the UK, Paul Joseph Watson was kicked off, Carl Benjamin, Sargon Akkad kicked off, but I don't see the same free speech commitment in the UK as I do in the United States. They've got their First Amendment. I believe that listen, we don't have the results yet. You might still win, mate. But if, God forbid, you don't, I think that is a warning to Donald J. Trump that if he does not rein in the big tech censors, you had 1 million Facebook fans that took you to zero, and if that's what knocked you out, if you lose this thing by a couple percent, of course it's because you were deplatformed on Facebook. And let this be a cautionary tale for Donald Trump. If he doesn't fix it, he will be killed too. What do you think of that?
100%. And it's not just that they took me off. No one's even had to mention my name. That's insane. You can't even write Tommy Robinson or say anything favourable without it being deleted or you being removed. They have removed any ability to talk about me on social media. Now, and that's spread across all of social media. So, of course, that's affected. And that's what I see. Today, we see how much it would have affected. If I'd have had social media, I'd have smashed this completely. And but Donald Trump, America, they're removing everyone. They're removing everyone. At the start of this campaign, any supporting voices that were political media were removed as well. It's not just me. They were removed as well. So, yeah, Donald Trump's got to sort it out, or eventually they'll be in complete control, which is what they're doing. They're regaining control.
Well, I find it very troubling because as a Canadian, of course, we have the Queen on our passport and the Queen on our currency and our stamps. And we look to the United Kingdom as the place where these freedoms were hard won from the Magna Carta and John Milton. And if you are losing them, you're the trunk of the tree. And in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, we're the branches of the tree. If the trunk rots, will the branches be far behind? I don't know.
We're not losing them. We've lost them. They're gone. They removed me from social media without breaking any laws. As I said, we have strict laws in this country against inciting hatred, against racial hatred, religious hatred. I broke none of them. I've been removed at every single level, organised, orchestrated, all planned together, completely removed me and removed the ability for anyone to talk about me. And that's all been planned, probably knowing that at some point I'd run for election. And my ability to talk to the public and tell them my view and counter the lies and smears is gone. So,
it's funny you say that. You just made me remember. Brexit was in 2016. That was won largely on social media. Then Trump in November 2016. Then social media woke up and they deplatformed Marine Le Pen in France. Facebook shut down 30,000 pro-Le Pen. Yeah, and maybe they've defeated candidates that we don't even know about yet. And that's a much bigger story than the Russia collusion conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact that they're shutting you down. That's not a theory. That's a fact, Tommy.
It's a celebrated fact. Celebrated by the establishment, celebrated by the media. They're not just removing me, but when you say it, removing anyone the ability to talk about me. Someone put their voting form on when they put a cross in Tommy Robinson. It was removed for hate speech.
Yeah, that's incredible. For those who don't, it's just simply saying the words Tommy Robinson, you put that on Facebook as your status, that will be suspended for violating community standards. I don't think people know how bad it is. Try doing it at home, folks. Try doing Vote Tommy Robinson. Even if you're not a Brit in the Northwest, you may well find your post suspended simply for, it's almost like Voldemort.
They're going through and deleting people's posts from 6 years ago. So where they've made me a figure of hate, without any evidence or without any criminal proceedings, I'm a figure of hate because Facebook say I am. But once they do that, that's it. You cannot mention me. You can mention Hitler. You can mention terrorists. You can celebrate Islamic jihadists. You can mention any of them. None of them are banned. But you mentioned Tommy Robinson, which for me was not a good thing, but it means I was rocking the boat and they really feared me. They don't fear the far right or the extreme far right. They fear someone who they can see is building a movement based on honesty and truth. I've been removed from everywhere. This election, I'm going to go there now. I'm grateful for the support. One thing is I felt so loved. There's my little boy on there again, FaceTiming. I felt so loved by everyone. It's been great having you here, Jess. It's been great having you here. Honest journalists to give a true account of what's happening because we're lied to. The public know they're lied to. The trust in media's gone. It's whether they've been able to influence and so many people didn't even know I was standing. So many people I speak to didn't even know you're standing. I've got no ability to talk to them. Before, if I went live on my Facebook, by the next hour I'd have 1 million or 2 million views. That's gone now. They've took that. And from all social media.
Well, listen, you've lowered expectations because we've come face to face with the reality of the censorship, but it's not done yet. I understand what you're feeling and what you're saying. It's not over till it's over, so we're still rooting for you, and so are the 11,000 folks watching. You're going to go over to the counting center. Jessica, do you think you should go over now, or should you tag along later?
So. It looks like results are going to be coming in the next 30 minutes. So I think it's a good idea if I head over there with you.
Get your milkshakes ready. I'm on my way.
All right, Tommy, will you come back afterwards?
I'll be back, mate. I'll
Okay,
be back.
cheers. All right, we'll just play musical chairs here one more time. Jessica, thanks very much. And stay in touch with me by sending me messages when there's news. Stay in touch with our home base in Toronto because when there's a key moment, go live on Periscope and we'll pipe that in here too. And so we'll see you back a little bit later as well, Jessica. All right, thanks very much. Well, folks,